What's up guys, Tyler here from SunFrog Shirts, and in this video I want to go over link sharing and the different ways that you can share your seller links on some of the different platforms. So in the last video we actually covered all of your different social platform options. We went over Facebook, we went over Pinterest, Twitter, Instagram, Google, YouTube. So we kind of hit all the main core ones. So in this video what I want to do is, now that you know what your options are platform-wise, is show you how to structure your links and some different ways that you can share collections of shirts or different tools that we have for promoting and getting people to kind of look at the site or buy a product once they get here. So let's go ahead and see what our different options are for sharing our link. Now, the most basic one that we've covered a couple of times, but again, like I said, I'm going to continue to show this process so that people get in the habit and get used to making sure that their ID is included on the links that they're sharing on our site. And again, it's important because this is the identifier we use to determine whether it's your traffic or somebody else's. And this is how to make sure that you'll be getting commission on the traffic you send to our site. So the most basic, simple version of this, again, is grabbing your ID and finding a shirt and placing your ID on the end of it. And once that's done, you can really take this link pretty much anywhere. You can share it on your different social platforms. You could insert it into an email. A lot of different options, but this is the most basic way to structure a link to share now on one of those social platforms or different options that we'd mentioned. So that's one way that it can be done, just by putting the question mark and ID on the back of the URL here. So one of the other ways that we can do this, and we've kind of covered this before as well, but I want to go a little bit more in depth in it, is if we go to and log into our account, under share we have collections, and we went over this in our video where we talked about how to find shirts and how this can be used to find shirts and group them together. So I have a couple different ones. This is the one I'm using primarily now, but after you've kind of built a collection, and if you're not really sure how to use this, do make sure you go check out the video where we go over finding great shirts on our platform, and that'll give you more information on how this is built. But in your collection, you have all these different designs that you add, and to get your link for this, you just hit the edit button up top, and you'll see this URL with your profile name and then the name of the collection. And you can change this name of the collection and save it, and everything will stay the same. But to actually get the promotable link for this, you click through and you'll see the shareable link now here. Now, collections is a little bit different than everything else on our website, where you don't actually need to put your ID on the end of it, because this collection is unique to you. Nobody else, I mean, we verify display name doesn't exist anywhere else, and then that combined with the name of the collection actually makes it unique. So we know based on the display name and the name of the collection that that's a unique grouping of designs that only you have. So you don't actually need to put your ID on the end, but you know, if you're one of those people that's worried, should I not? I just say always put your ID on the end. It can't hurt anything. So you can put it on here as well, but you don't need to. Now, one way that you can actually check this, now I'm using Chrome browser. It's going to be different in other browsers depending on what you're using. But you can actually, if you ever have a question about whether or not a URL is actually keeping your ID and that you're going to have credit, we can actually open an incognito window. And without getting too technical about behind how our system works and how internet cookies and things like that work, incognito windows clear all the data. So if you've ever cleared browsing cache or history or anything like that, incognito window opens with all of that stuff already clear. So you know that when you input a new URL or something into an incognito browser, that there's not going to be any conflicting data overwriting what you're putting in. So we also have sunfrog.com/cookie. And this will show you what ID your session is currently set to. So as you can see, we have nothing set because we're in an incognito browser. That means I'm not linked to any seller's traffic that sent me here at this point. Now, if we go and we use our collection link and we go land on that page, so this is the collection we were just looking at, we will now be set to our seller ID for the session, which means that when a customer comes in on this link, they'd be set to us, and then whether they buy any of these designs or they go off searching into another category and select a different design, we actually now, if we refresh this page, are set to ourselves. Which means anything that they purchase over here, you'd get credit for commission-wise. And you can see that we didn't have our ID attached to that collection URL, and it automatically sent. So if you ever have a question of whether or not the link that you're promoting is setting your ID, I would recommend opening an incognito browser like we just did, checking to see if your ID is set. And if it is, then you're good. The link you're sharing will give you credit for anything that the consumer purchases. So let's go ahead and close this and go back in and look at another option, a couple different options for sharing. And there's a lot of them, and we'll try to cover as many as we can here. But another way that you can share on SunFrog with your ID is actually to do a search-based share. So let's say that you're on SunFrog and you're searching for poodles. And you're looking at these shirts and you're like, man, this would be really great if I could just share this search term with my community, because these are all great shirts and I'd rather not have to create a collection out of this. So you can absolutely share a search term on SunFrog. So the way that you do this, you'll notice that there's a question mark up here. And one thing you want to keep in mind is that following a question mark should always be your ID. That's also very important that happens. But if we insert our ID and we separate that with the ampersand, then we have a functional link for search that includes our ID. And if we were to go check this on the incognito window, you would see that your ID would be set on a method like this. So we can kind of manipulate the links that are on our site similar to this for a lot of different types of things, so that you can share search terms. You could also share a category, for example. You could do fitness, and you could add your ID to the back of this link, and that would allow you to share all of our fitness shirts with your ID. You could also just do this on the main site. You could just do sunfrog.com, your ID, and it would set your ID on the customer coming in, and then they could go searching this site for anything that they wanted, and you would get credit for anything that they purchased because the initial send-in attached that customer to you through that ID. And that's why this ID is so important and so powerful, because you can set it at any part of the process, and wherever the customer goes and whatever they purchase, you're going to get credit for that. So we've covered most of the ways, but there's one more that I want to cover, and we kind of talked about this a little bit in a previous video, but this tool right here is really cool because you can actually share this page as well. And again, just a manipulation of the actual URL up here where we enter our ID and separate using an ampersand. And now, if you share this link, you can actually direct people to this page. And you know, if you just want to try a general targeting, this is a really good way to do that. And this is cool because it allows people to customize the shirts that they're looking for based on them. So you know, they can type in their name, they can type in the year that they were born, and those types of things, and they can find their shirt. But Because your ID was present in the initial link that you sent in, you will get credit for them searching their own, interests or information and purchasing any of these designs. Or again, say they leave this page and go and purchase something else, like your ID is going to follow them around and you're going to get credit for anything that they purchase. So in this video, we covered the different ways to share links and how to make sure that you're getting credit for sending the traffic in using any of those methods. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and as always, we will see you in the next video.